The coastal trade was basically based on bagged grain, bringing the bagged grain from all the little outports into the overseas shipping ports. But when the bagged grain finished, bulk grain came in, and the government put all the new grain silos on the railhead, and that was goodbye to the coastal shipping trade. So the Foleys had a pretty extensive history apart from what we know of now as a representative of the era of the local shipping trade.
So from the Foley and the shipping trade finally came to an end, and then what happened after that? What about Clay Minerals?
So when I was 25 years old, the company said to me, "You're the youngest grandchild, and you've got to find out whatever this company's going to do from now on, it's over to you." So that's where it started. The original company was Clay Supplies, and they basically did three things. They had interstate trucks running, they ran a service to Broken Hill, and they supplied clay to the brickworks. And so when they went insolvent, I took over the company, looked at what they were doing, threw out the stuff that I could see had no future, and said, I'm going to develop the clay supplies side of things. So I started the new company, Clay&Mineral Sales. So we finished up with 2 new properties in Golden Grove that we purchased. We finished up one at McLaren Vale and one out at Reeves Plains near Gawler. So we purchased these new properties, and then we developed markets not only for clay, but for shell grit and for sand products.
So I guess is that about the time where where you were getting a bit older and your kids were growing up and...
Yeah, well you'd just finished playing professional tennis and said, I'm coming back into the business and I'm going to try and take over from you in due course. From then on you've worked with me and gradually taken over the management of the company until now you do it all.
Yes, well, maybe don't do it all, but you set up a great team for me to start with. I've also got my brother in the business, which is really helpful. I've had a great foundation to start with, and then since I started computerisation and just the demand for things has changed over the last, since I became a director in '91. Since then, things have changed a lot, and we've developed different products a bit, different sand products, even though it's still sand. We've gone out into the country and chased work. We've worked with government to find out where the jobs are, and with the contractors, and being able to supply those country jobs. So now we've ended up with more of not just pits around the metropolitan area, but in the outer metropolitan area. So things have grown a bit, and they continue to do so.
No, what Richard has done really well is to liaise with the mines department and try and work through all the red tape that they love to introduce all the time. In one way, the red tape they introduce is good for us because it's so complex that no one else wants to come in and muck around with it. So we don't get too much business opposition. But being able to negotiate and liaise with them has helped us in a lot of big jobs where the government says we're going to put in a new major pipeline from Wellington to Currency Creek. It's going to take 500,000 tonne of sand. And where's the sand coming from? There's no sand leases out there. So Richard approaches the mines department and says, look, give me 6 months to get new leases through and I can save you $1 million on the cost of the sand. So we said, go for it. He said, go for it. So those sort of negotiations behind the scene with the mines department are very, very important, and he does it well. I think one of the things Richard has done really well is to develop a lot of new deposits spread far and wide around South Australia, and we must have a couple of dozen now of deposits spread from Port Augusta down into the Toe of York Peninsula, up around Murray Bridge, McLaren Vale, you name it, we're there. And he's done this development work and done it really well.
So what are the main things we do now is that we do supply like your sand, rubbles and soils and screenings around the metropolitan area. That's our day-to-day bread and butter work. But also in that, we also receive or take off people's sites a lot of clean fill. Because we have quarries and some of them are getting a little bit older, that we are able to take clean fill as backfill. And that has been, in the last 10 to 20 years, a real change in what we do, and in our industry the demand for that has increased a real lot. So we're well positioned to continue that growth and be able to help small and large customers take their fill off-site, as well as bringing in their requirements onto site, whether that be sand, rubbles, screenings or whatever that might be. So we've also had a fair bit of dealings with sporting clubs in the last 10 years, like supplying and sponsoring Globe Derby, and involved in supplying the dog track at Angle Park, or being involved with the SAJC at Morphettville, and yeah, so we've had involvement with different organisations that are not always businesses, but community organisations that need to get the job done. So we support them as well.
Our company has got an excellent reputation in the trade, and people know that when they deal with us, they're going to get service and they're going to get consistency and a product that meets the specifications. So they don't have to worry about whether we're going to go broke, or whether we can't get enough trucks, or whether we're going to have problems along the way, because they know that when we say we can do it, we can do it.
We are a family business, and we pride ourselves on being honest and caring in the same way that we want to be treated how our customers want to be treated. So that's one of our things we're known for, and I think the type of staff we employ people that have that same caring attitude of, we care about what our customers, their needs are, and therefore we're more able to meet those needs. And we have a real strong team, especially right now. Just our people have, I would say, an average of 10 years service with us at the moment. So we have a great group of staff who are loyal and do their job well. So we are very fortunate that we have such a good team, and I guess it's part of our job to keep keeping those staff and growing, which we are doing as well. It's been a real pleasure to have you keep coming in, and I guess that is one of the real joys of being a family business. And it's been a real pleasure following on from you, and I'm sure my brother Stephen would say the same thing, that we've been pretty spoiled in having a business that we can just follow in a lot. I think it's a lot easier coming into a business that is already established rather than trying to establish one from fresh. I'm
very fortunate that I can still come into work, and provided they wake me up when it's lunchtime and feed me, I'm happy.
Yeah, we've cut your hours down a bit. You only come in about 4 days a week now, so we let you have that one day off a week. So I guess at 88 you maybe deserve a day off a week.